Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Our next guests are the incredible star and producer of this film, and the writer-director as well. It's a criminal comedy called Buffaloed, and in it, Zoey Deutch gives a hilariously layered performance as a quintessential American character, the dreamer, hunting for a better life and willing to bend a few rules to get it. Everybody, please put your hands together for Zoey Deutch and writer-director Tanya Wexler. Hey. So first and foremost, there's a lot that I learned about this movie because I didn't know anything about debt collecting, thank heavens. But also I had no idea that jagoff was such a Buffalo term. Was that just in the script that many times, or did you take a trip to Buffalo and think to yourselves, well, everybody here really loves to call each other a jackoff. This should be in the movie a fair amount.
Luckily, we weren't doing anything that forced people to call us that bad word. But yeah, we found that out from the writer, Brian Sacca, who is from Buffalo, that word is commonly used when angry.
People are upset. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian grew up in Buffalo. When you introduced me, you said writer-director. I would love to take credit.
Excuse me, yes. I apologize.
No, happy to take credit. Sorry, Brian. Now it's mine.
You're out, Brian. You're out of here.
But Brian wrote this amazing script that then Zoey was attached to, and I heard Zoey was attached. I read it the night it got sent to me as a result because I was a huge fan of hers, and then I saw this hilarious, brilliant, amazing script with this amazing character. I mean, I think Zoey is in every single scene of the movie. Yeah. And I almost did untoward things to get the right to direct it. So it was a job I really wanted to win. And I think that if you watch it, it's fun, it's funny, but more than anything, like, this woman's performance is out of this world.
Well, it has to be. She's carrying the whole movie, and does an incredible job at doing it. But what attracted you to this? You were attached to the script. You're a producer on it. I imagine it has a lot more to do with just being in the movie in every scene.
So I read it while I was shooting a movie here in New York called Set It Up, and I think I was attracted to initially how different the character was from the character I was playing at the time. You know, Harper in Set It Up is very eager to please and positive and friendly and bubbly. So the idea of playing someone with that, like Peg Dahl in Buffaloed, with that much moxie and ambition and greed seemed really exciting to me. Also, ultimately, I found it to be a very funny but poignant story about a young woman who's obsessed with making enough money to get out of her blue-collar existence. She's not just being greedy for greed's sake. She wants freedom.
It's the American dream.
Right, yeah. Right. And she goes against the sort of traditional feminine expectations. She embodies more of a feminist ideal in that she's determined to make enough money by herself without a male sort of counterpart. She wants to be financially independent. Very much so. She'll do anything to get there.
You said that you read it on the set of Set It Up, and it felt like a completely different kind of character. But one of the things that I loved about your performance was, as gritty as she kind of is, as much moxie as she kind of has, all of that is kind of underneath this sort of disarming layer that she brings, which is kind of the disarming Zoey Deutch layer of just being of a plum and sweet and wonderful, but underneath all that, she's kind of willing to kill she doesn't kill anybody, but she's willing to kill to get money. Like, I was wondering if you were thinking about that while you were doing this character, or for you, if it felt like you were doing something completely different than you normally do.
Oh God, I don't know.
Can I just take that in a different direction? I think that what we have we're only now starting to see that I think Zoey is really amazing at is what I'd call the feminist antihero. So we've seen a lot of women who are playing someone who's idealized, because they're so charming or so lovely, or if they're a bad guy, they're so bad, but like, you know, it used to be that Jack Nicholson and those kind of actors could make a career out of playing that cad who you can't help but loving, despite doing despicable things. And women rarely get to be that interesting, that dimensional, that morally compromised, and you still love the character. Right. And that's what I knew when I read the script and thought about Zoey, is like, you can't not love Zoey. She is fundamentally, as an actor, as a human, but also as an actor, that she infuses her character with complete like watchability. I'm always engrossed. I can't not watch her and root for her. And then to have that with a character who's doing some pretty questionable things to get what she needs to get done, I just thought it was going to be something I hadn't seen before.
She does those questionable things quite often with a smile, though, which I think makes it disarming and charming throughout the whole movie.
And she could get elected.
She could get elected, yes.
Because she'll smile.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What did being a producer on this mean for you?
It was a really fun and exciting learning experience for me. It was the second movie I'd produced, and this time I
was the first one the one that your mother directed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gave my mom a job, so I don't know how that works in terms of nepotism, since she was the one that was famous first. But whatever, Mom. Anyway.
Now she owes you.
Mom,
that's all there is.
Hire me.
Yeah.
No, but this time it was it was, you know, getting to go through the process of finding a perfect match in Tanya was super special, and it's an interesting sort of like process. You know, but of course immediately when I met you, I knew that you were going to be our fearless leader, or brilliant, graceful captain of the ship. Like it's such an interesting balance. Being a director, where especially you do it so beautifully, where you have a strong point of view and perspective, but also are interested in listening to all the ideas around you, because you know that there are good ideas around you, but you end up, you know, going with what is best for the movie, not out of ego, but what is best for the movie.
It's actually an incredibly difficult thing for a director to do, and it's easier said than done. I think all directors are like, oh, I like to listen to everybody, but when you get on set, you're strapped for time, you're running out of money, your locations are giving out on you. If someone comes up to you and is like, hey, I have a great idea for how to make this table look or something, there's the possibility that you as the director in that moment, like, I don't care.
Nothing frazzles her, or it's pretty, or ruffles it's really spectacular. I mean, very, very, very cool. So that process was super interesting, and location scouting is just as glamorous as you would expect it to be. You're in a van and you're sweating and in weird parking lots, and you haven't eaten all day, and it's
like scuzzy apartment hunting or something.
Yeah. You find new types of mold that you didn't know existed. You know, stuff like that.
What is the meeting, you know, because when you meet with a director to star in one of their movies, you're not producing it. That becomes about whether or not they're going to enjoy working with you, and I'm sure a little bit about whether or not you're going to enjoy working with them as well. But you are essentially selling yourself to that person who's directing the movie. When you are the producer on it and you are meeting with a director who in some ways is doing untoward things to get the job, as you said, what is that? What are you looking for in that meeting?
I didn't have to. I was just willing to.
What does that meeting look like? What kind of questions are you asking? What are you looking to get?
Well, I just realized this is the first job I've ever done that I did an audition for, actually. I don't, you know, what was interesting about our meeting was that she got an unbelievably frightening call in the middle of our meeting. She came just shockingly prepared with all these ideas and like storyboard, like really overly prepared, more so than any of the, 30 people that I had met with. And then in the middle of our interesting, stimulating conversation, she got a call from her partner that said that there was a potential lockdown at one of her kids' schools. And, you know, I can't even imagine how frightening that must be. And she just looked at me and she said, I need to take this call. And I said, of course, go. She left. She came, like, just totally composed, totally knew how to handle the situation in a way that was so miraculous to me, and came back and was like, everything's okay, but thank you for letting me take my time. Let's continue. And watching someone handle that kind of situation with grace, I knew that when we are strapped for time and there's no money and it's 100 degrees and everyone's screaming at her and the guy is asking, do you like that on the table? She's not going to be like, fuck off. Sorry. Oh, you know, she's going to
You can curse. It's okay.
She's going to be, she displayed grace and calm in the eye of the storm in just one meeting. And she continued to do so throughout the whole shooting process.
When you sit down for that meeting and you're pitching yourself, I'm sure there's also an element of trying to know if you can work with, because that was probably the first time you met with Zoey. So you need to know, she's a producer on it, she's the star of it, you need to know if you can work with her as well, right? How do you go into those meetings? And obviously you could. She's delightful. It's wonderful.
Right, that's a good question.
I didn't want to leave that hanging. Like she.
I mean, how could you work with this monster?
Right? I mean, for sure. I think it's funny. I don't go in.
What lies did she sell you on?
I don't think I go in evaluating it. I fall in love with the material.
Yeah.
I fall in love with, hopefully. I mean, it is what's kind of fun. The best version of filmmaking is it's a lot of falling in love. Which you really need to do. You need to have all those honeymoon periods so that when you are, it's 3 a.m. and you smell bad and you're kind of exhausted and you haven't slept. And
I did smell really bad.
Totally
because I was wearing polyester suits from like Goodwill
in the summer.
in the Toronto heat of summer. Yeah, so I was not smelling great. Just
you guys shot around Toronto and dressed it as Buffalo?
No, it's absolutely fine.
Shot in Toronto, dressed Toronto as Buffalo?
Toronto, Hamilton, Ontario, which is kind of the Buffalo of Ontario, and some in Buffalo as well. So, but I mean, it was just all had this great kind of cohesive look that.
Right, Buffalo's not that far from.
No, it's an hour and a half.
I loved Buffalo when we went and visited, and like I said, we shopped for the costumes there and did some like sneaky shooting and sneaky recording of accents.
And when New York City turns into Venice, Buffalo is one of the like refugee climate cities we're supposed to all move to because near a Great Lake. So we're coming.
Remember me, Buffalo.
Yeah.
I love you. And the truth is, I don't love chicken wings, but I still love you. Okay.
It's true. But this is a fun fact, and then I'll get back to answering your question, which is one of the greatest things about working with Zoey, and there are many fantastic things, I highly recommend it, is that unlike many actors, she eats food. It's fantastic. And not only does she eat food, she will eat food on camera, which most people won't do. And she will pitch scenes where she's like, could I just have some chips? Or like a popcorn thing, or just anything crunchy. I need something crunchy. I need to do something with my hands. Can I have something crunchy? And I just kept going, are you going to eat food in front of people? What kind of crazy woman are you?
There's not a lot of time on set to have to eat, so I just put them in the scenes.
It's so good.
And I'm just constantly snacking.
You were very snacky, and it was hilarious. So it was not wings, but it was chips. And
it also makes sense for this character, though. There's a natural energy that she's supposed to have in every scene that is kind of nonchalant and selling people. And there's nothing like eating in front of other people.
Every
casually.
part I do, I eat a lot in. And the politician, I'm shoving breadsticks in my mouth. That's me. Eating macaroons. That's not in the script. I have a juice box in my hand in every scene that was not written in that. And set it up.
Popcorn hoodie and set it up.
In the shirt, and I'm the pasta. Everything I've ever shot in flour. Everything I've ever shot, my character eats a lot.
Why?
It's how she picks her characters that way. Clearly,
she hungry. She hungry, and she don't want her to be hangry, so she eats in every scene.
Do people who pitch you scripts ever get calls from like your manager or agent? They're like, look, just put more food scenes in. Zoey's in. She's almost on board, guys. She just wants one more food scene in here.
I don't think she needs to pitch it. The food shows up.
Yeah. Right.
Like, you think that if Zoey's just quietly telling the AD department, please, there needs to be popcorn and chips, like if it won't show up, it shows up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sneaky about it. I'll like call the prop master the night before and be like, I feel like I want some Joe's Pizza in episode 23 and some iced tea. No ice, though, in the iced tea. Just tea, like literally, like fully creating scenarios where I could just eat meals.
Directors show up and like, where did all this food come from? The prop master's like, Zoey called me in the middle of the night and asked me to buy it.
But the truth is, I mean, and it's funny, but it also is like, that is why her characters are so special. They're real, they're relatable. They do people things like eat and, you know what I mean, and have foibles and fall down. They fall down a lot too. There's a lot of self-injury stuff that happens, both actual, like.
Hurt myself a lot on
yeah,
this one.
there's a lot of.
I kept hitting the car door on my leg, and there's a scene where I'm in my underwear. There's a giant bruise on my leg, and someone was like, "I loved that touch. That makeup artist put the big bruise on your leg. That felt so right for the character." And I was like, "I know, right? For the character. It was good for the character."
By like week 3, she was like, "Dude, I am hurting. Like, there have been too many."
It was my fault. All of it was I would just fall. I fell on my knee. I had laryngitis.
That was from screaming
Screaming
fuck a
yeah,
lot.
the movie comes out, by the way, you guys, on Valentine's Day in limited theaters and also on iTunes and Amazon and VOD and stuff. But that was a quick plug. I'm sure you guys could all tell.
Yeah.
But it's on Valentine's
That's
Day.
okay.
Yeah. Is that? Oh, yeah. Buffalo. That's what we're here for. But I thought my Valentine's Day present to you all could be me screaming at you in a movie for an hour and change. So you're welcome.
There are some direct-to-camera screaming at times, right?
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day.
First shot of the movie is Zoey saying fuck.
Talk about some of the other casts that you assembled around Zoey. I mean, National Treasure Judy Greer is in this.
Oh, I love her.
You love Judy Greer. I do too. She's the best. How did you go about casting her? Was that someone that you had in mind immediately upon reading it?
We said, "Do you think we can get Judy Greer?"
We both sent her like crazy fan letters, and she responded, and the rest is history. And she is a national treasure. She's such a special person and such an unbelievable actress.
And funny and so fucking funny. We're allowed to swear, right?
Great knitter, by the way.
Oh my
Well,
God,
if you
so much
need
knitting.
And her to knit you anything, she probably won't, but she could, is the point.
Did she knit something for you?
No.
Did you ask?
Judy, I need a hat. I want a hat for the winter. Yeah, I wish. She's like she's a world-renowned knitter. I don't know about world-renowned, but she's a really good knitter. I can't speak for the world.
Just in North America.
Yeah. And Jai Courtney, who I've always liked Jai Courtney a lot, and I feel like he got cast as this sort of action hero from the Die Hard movies and the Suicide Squad. But I had seen him in some Australian movie he did a long time ago, where he was subtle and strange and a bit more of an actor. It's kind of nice to see him in something like this, where he's playing a sleazebag. How did you think of Jai?
Yeah, I had the same experience, where I'd seen him play a lot of these like big action roles, but I had seen him do some small early work, and I just always knew that there was more there than he was getting cast as. And I thought he'd make an excellent douchebag. Mm-hmm. So I basically said, I have the douchebag for you. I know, but he's the nicest guy in the world, right?
But I will say, there's a fight scene I have with him, and getting to work with someone who has done a lot of action movies and knows what they're doing is so fun, because I don't, and I'm so sorry, Jai, that I actually literally punched you in the face and balls like twice. I'm really sorry. That was an accident, obviously. I hope you know that. But I'd never worked with anyone who's that well equipped in like fight training and stunts, and he's spectacular in that, as well as just a wonderful person and actor.
Yeah. We have a question from Twitter. It's, what was it like working on the Suite Life on deck? Do you still keep in touch with any of the cast members?
Absolutely.
That is from my 14-year-old daughter.
Cole and Dylan are buddies, for sure. I just saw them the other night.
Can I be honest with you? I that's a foreign language to me. I don't know what that means.
Do you know who Cole Sprouse is and Dylan Sprouse?
Yeah, yeah.
They're twins. You don't. That was a lie. You have no idea who they are.
Yeah. I have gray hair.
Well, the answer is yes. I am still friends with them.
Okay, we have some questions in the audience. I think our first question is from some by the name of Sandra, right here.
Hi. Hi. So you played a role with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then you played a role where you were also sort of a vampire slayer on Vampire Academy. So, and this is for both of you. If you could be any kind of supernatural creature, what would you be and why?
If I could be, fiction.
Yeah.
Creature or person?
Up to interpretation, whatever you would
Like a creature could be like a ghost frog or something. Like, I don't understand.
Shit. What would you be, Tanya?
I would be an elf from Lord of the Rings because they're freaking awesome and they're badass and they can shoot arrows. I'm a nerd. I'm super nerdy, by the way. Also highly nerdy.
I'm gonna go with Ghost Frog.
Ghost frog.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Unikitty. That's the other one.
Supernatural creature. I don't know. Oh God. You know what would be so cool if you could when I'm traveling, sometimes when I go into a place, I just want to be able to see what was happening around me at different time. I would love to be able to be like 1920, go, or like 4,000 years ago.
No,
So you want to time travel. You want to be like a traveler
that's
from
what
Magician.
it's called?
No, but
funny.
not time travel. I like the idea of that, like, it plays like a movie in front of you. Like, you go into a bar and you're like, oh, what did this bar look like on this date in 1920? Like the Shining style.
So like a
And it
psychic?
just kind of plays.
Kind
yeah, I
of?
guess
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Is that I thought psychics see the future.
Potentially. Or a medium, a psychic medium
Yeah.
thingy.
I appreciate
analog.
this because I think she's come up with something of her own that
That's
I've never
true.
heard of
Just like
before.
you, dude. Ghost Frog.
Ghost Frog. Come into the CW.
Don't sell yourself short. Ghost Frog it's original.
Yeah, at the very least.
It's different. So
Next question is from someone by the name of Eileen. Oh, hi.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Eileen.
So you've represented a diverse range of characters and genres. I was wondering if there is any particular genre or character trope that you would like to explore in the future. Food is optional.
I would love to do a musical. I really love to sing. And I love to dance. I'm not the best at it, but I'd work at it. And given the opportunity. And I'd love to do some sort of psychological thriller. I've never done anything like that. Love to do a play. I would love to be like Snow White or, a friggin' princess. I want to kick some ass, do a musical, play a princess. I want to do it all. Yeah. And eat, of course, while doing it.
Rachel is the next question. Where are you?
Hi. This is for both. I'm just wondering your biggest inspirations.
That's a great question. My biggest inspirations, classic answer, but very true. My mother, she's my biggest inspiration. And my grandmother, my mom's mom, who was an amazing, amazing painter and artist and kind of paved the way for my mother and for me to feel like we could do what we do, which is be an artist. I was given that permission, and that's a real gift and blessing, and I know that comes from her. And I think about her every day.
Well, I mean, now my answer just kind of isn't as good. I mean, to the family thing, my dad was my hero. I miss him every day, and he didn't have any sons. He had a bunch of daughters, and so I think in that way I got to kind of be like the son he never had, and so it kind of made me feel that way. I think also kind of all the women, not just directors, but women who came before me in fields that traditionally weren't open to women. I once ran across a museum to shake Jane Goodall's hand, and that, those women who were out there when it was not convenient to be a woman, when it wasn't cool, when it wasn't the trending hashtag, we all stand on their shoulders, and they open it up for men and women to really explore, your own path instead of what's scripted for you.
How did you find filmmaking, though? Just out of curiosity.
It was kind of, not like this one, but like kind of a family business. It seemed like mostly people in my family were either shrinks, psychologists, shrinks, real estate people, or in the film business. My uncle was a DP, but kind of funny is like...
Great DP, too.
Great DP.
Pascal Wexler, yeah.
Yeah, and my sister is an actor, and... but mostly I was just like an actor, kind of did a lot of improv, grew up in Chicago, but quickly like wrote a short film for myself to be in because you needed tape on yourself. And I gave it to a young director and producing team. And they said, oh, you've got to take out all the stuff where it says the camera pans here and tracks there. And I was like, I don't know how to tell the story if I don't tell you what the camera does. And they said, that's what the director decides. And I went, oh. And I took my little script back and applied to film school. And that was it. It was like a light switch. I never wanted to act again. It was a path to understand how to tell stories in pictures in that way. But I think it gave me insight into how to work with actors because I had, even just for a little while, stood in their shoes and knew, I could see that lots of directors were treating actors like furniture. And it didn't feel like the best way to work.
What do you mean like furniture?
Like, you go here, move here, let's, no. And so
Do what I'm told, okay?
I know.
I'm just a little actor girl.
that's it.
It's like a trigger for you. You hear that tone of voice, you're like,
Yes, director. Whatever you want. Like me, love me.
Okay, right hand on blue
Table.
circle.
Okay.
And so, but it was, you kind of learn by doing. You learn intuitively, which is why we want to give people who you don't normally think of as creators opportunities to create and not just think they somehow have to have done the job before. But I just kind of fell in love with it. And then I realized, the more I can do exactly, to kind of go back to what you were saying, which is try to learn what the movie wants to become, right? Through the text, through the people that are making it together, and then kind of help everyone know this is the boundary. The movie is in here. And then get all the best ideas from all these brilliant people, because 200 brains are better than one, and then take credit for all of them.
Amen.
That is a director right there.
well, I love the film. Congratulations. Amazing
you.
work. It comes out this Friday, correct?
Yeah.
In limited theaters and on VOD everywhere. iTunes, Amazon On Demand, right?
Yeah. Watch it. You're going to love it. It's really fun.
And it's called Buffaloed. Everybody give them a huge round of applause for being here. Let's hear it.